If summer heat and activity left your lawn with bare patches and thin spots, then get Scott's Turf Builder Grass Seed. Fall's cool air and warm soil make it the best time to grow grass. Use Turf Builder Grass Seed to grow thicker, greener grass, guaranteed. It contains Scott's exclusive Water Smart Plus coating that absorbs 2 times more water than uncoated seeds. Feeds to jumpstart growth and protect seedlings against disease. And Scott's is the official lawn care company of Major League Baseball. Fall's the best time to grow seed and repair your yard. Pick up a bag of Scott's Turf Builder Grass Seed today. This is the Scott's Yard.
It's time for some straight talk. The big wireless companies charge a boatload for their superior network coverage. But guess what? Straight Talk uses the same cell towers but charges a lot less. Who knew? Well, now you do. And I do. So let's do something. It's time to switch to Straight Talk. Unlimited plans start as low as $35 a month on America's largest, most dependable networks. Straight Talk Wireless. Only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. A month equals 30 days. Please refer always to the latest terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
Eduardo Perez is going to join us 30 minutes from now. A great baseball game.
Yes,
it was long, 4 hours and 37 minutes. I got it, but there's drama on every pitch. Yep. And the baseball postseason is so unpredictable, Mike. It's one thing to say the Cubs are going to beat the Nationals. In case you're just joining us, the Cubs did beat Washington. But if I told you that Max Scherzer was going to come in the game, you'd say, all right, the Nationals got this locked up. If I said to you Hendricks was going to start, you'd say, all right, great start coming up. No, it wasn't the case. And if I told you there was some controversy, that you would believe, because no matter what in a playoff game, there's going to be controversy, and the whole issue is with replay, and we'll get into all that.
Yeah, we will. And with Eduardo, you talk about a former player who can talk about what on the field, when that's going on, what that can do to you when it's happening on the field. So there were a lot of twists and turns in a 4-hour and 37-minute game. That we had one person tweet in and say, I stood up and watched the entire game. I don't know if that was a traditional thing or kind of the way they
maybe
not
on the furniture,
I have no idea, but good football game last night we'll get into as well. We're doing the Oreo taste testing. There's a mystery flavor out there. Yeah. If you buy the package and guess the flavor, you can win $50,000. We believe we have the flavor. I opened it up to everybody here. We've all tried it and got a consensus to think we know what the flavor is, so we're pretty happy about that. I ate too many of the cookies.
No, but don't disclose the favor. That's okay.
No.
No matter what, you got to win this $50,000.
Yeah, I'm not going to. We're going to split it up here. Eduardo Perez is going to be in studio, so
Eddie can eat some cookies.
We'll let him try some of those as well.
His taste buds are working. Yep. Also, since it's Friday the 13th, we were soliciting your scariest movies. You can tweet us, ESPN Golic, Adnan ESPN, or Mike and Mike. Your choice is The Exorcist, which is a great one. I'll say The Shining. We also got some choices for Rosemary's Baby, The Ring, The Omen. There's definitely lots of good choices, so let us know what you think. By the way, what did you think of Dunkirk? I wore my Dunkirk shirt for you today.
I have not seen it yet.
Are you kidding?
I have not seen it yet.
I saw Dunkirk in 70mm back with Dan Stanzik. You didn't get around to it?
I have not.
You don't like war movies?
No, I love war movies. I love war movies.
Yeah.
What I remember, I saw.
Is it a busy month for you?
No. Well, I saw. That's one of those. My wife won't go to that. She doesn't. Not a big fan of war movies.
Sure.
So I just want to leave her. I just. Honey, I'm going away for a couple hours.
Walk the dog for 3 hours.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But I remember when I saw Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
It was. I was in Milwaukee doing something there, and I was by myself. And I went to movies by myself all the time.
Yeah, on the road you do all the time.
Yeah. So I went to it, and I remember the manager of the theater coming out before it started and saying the first 20 minutes to a half hour of this movie is very, very chilling. It will. So he said, I'm telling you all right now, if you want to leave and get a refund, you can. But once the movie starts, I'm not going to give you a refund. He said, just know it is very gruesome. It looks very real and about what went on. And it catches it on the big screen here. So if you want to get a refund, and I was like, oh my God.
Right.
And let me tell you, that was wow.
But you're already going in with great expectations.
Holy
you know that it's
smokes.
Spielberg, great reviews.
Yeah.
And then you hear someone tell you, hey, if you want to leave now.
And then you see the scene, you're like, boy, he was right.
Oh,
I mean, it was unreal. But that was one of the great. I have not seen this. I'm looking forward to seeing it, though.
All right. I hopefully.
Oh, you're getting on me. You haven't seen it yet. Okay, that's not like that came out yesterday.
Dunkirk is going to be at the Oscars.
Whatever.
This picture, I mean, I can get around it.
Okay, listen, there's plenty of movies that who won the Oscar, that I don't really like,
La La Land you liked.
La La Land I did like.
Well, see,
I did like.
That's the thing I know about my buddy Golic. Former football player, but he can sing a tune and he likes the good music
there
as well.
You go.
All right, let's do a little off the top.
Off the top.
All right, let's get to it. Battle of 4-1 teams. The Eagles held off the Panthers 28-23. Carson Wentz threw 3 more touchdown passes, giving him 7 over the past 2 weeks. Wentz hadn't thrown more than 2, Mike, in any of his first 20 NFL starts. He's really blossomed, especially with Zach Ertz.
He really has. He and Zach Ertz are so in tune right now. He had 2 touchdowns to him, 1 to Aguilar, who was manned up by a linebacker, which is like a gimme touchdown. Cam Newton had 3 interceptions, only 1, and I'm still not sure who the miscommunication was on or if it was just a bad pass. The other 2 tipped balls, not his fault at all on those. Cam Newton threw it a career-high 52 times. Cam Newton ran the ball 11 of the 25 times. Now, Cam Newton has to be highly involved in the offense running again, but this was a little too much. 52 passes is too much. Christian McCaffrey is getting very involved now in the offense. We've seen that the last couple of weeks to the tune of he had 14 targets, 10 receptions, but only basically 5 yards per. So it's not like he's doing a lot with it after just yet.
Yeah.
I think it'll be more and more. I think it is a great addition to the offense, but there's not enough of a running game yet to help that out to what Christian McCaffrey can bring them. But for the Eagles, what they're doing on the defense, Fletcher Cox plays in the middle. He was just a man amongst boys in the middle there. They're running the ball well, at least with attempts. The yards per rush wasn't great last night, but they got it going on right now in Philly.
More Eagles talk. I want to ask you not only where you see them in the NFC, but how many quarterbacks you would take ahead of Carson Wentz right now. We'll do that in a second. Let's still get through some more off the top.
Off the top.
The Chicago Cubs scored 9 runs in Game 5 on the road in Washington. They hold on to advance the NLDS against the Dodgers. Chicago had put up just 8 runs combined in games 1 through 4 of the series. As for Dusty Baker, his teams have now lost 10 straight postseason closeout games, an MLB record, according to Elias. We've talked an awful lot about the Nationals and their misery and the fact that there were some disputed calls, but give it up for the Cubs, Mike. This is a team that won the World Series last year ahead of schedule, and this year they struggled in the regular season. They won the division, although the Milwaukee Brewers never really gave up. St. Louis was hanging around. I think a lot of people have kind of soured on them as a trendy pick, but the Cubs once again delivered when they had to, and their offense really stepped up.
Yeah, they really did. I mean, this is a game that goes to the 5th inning, and Washington's up 4-3, and you think, and Scherzer comes in the game. For Washington, like,
game
okay.
over. Right.
And he gets 2 outs. So he's 2 outs in his inning that he's in there, and then, boom, 4 runs later, the Cubs have the lead again and don't give it up. So that I was somewhat stunned there, and a lot of twists and turns. We'll get into it more with Eduardo Perez, but so many with replay and certain plays that were called errors. Was there interference? Was there not? A lot of twists and turns. Dusty Baker did say it best when in a lengthy soundbite that we won't play again.
It was very
He
long.
went over a lot of things that basically it came down to we had our chances.
Yeah.
We had our chances. We didn't take advantage of them, so we go home and the Cubs move on.
And that's the most salient point. You could argue this play changed the complexion. This would have helped. They had 14 guys left on base, and they lost a one-run game. You got to cash in on your opportunities.
Off the top.
Yankees and Astros begin their ALCS in Houston this evening with Masahiro Tanaka on the hill against Dallas Keuchel. Keuchel has dominated the Yankees in his career, posting an ERA of just 1.41 in 6 regular season starts, the lowest ERA against the Yankees among all active starters. Kudos to New York for the way they came back, unfortunately, Mike, for you against your Indians.
Yeah.
But I really like the Astros in this series. I love their offense, and I love Keuchel in Game 1.
Who would you have liked had the Indians won?
I still probably would have liked the Astros to win the series, but maybe Cleveland in Game 1. If Bauer was pitching, maybe Tomlin.
Oh, sure.
I'm sorry.
I don't care what you have to say anymore. Now, listen, Houston, this offense, what they got going, Keuchel and Verlander, how'd that deal work out for Verlander? I mean, are you serious? Tanaka has a horrific ERA against the Astros. Yeah, I don't know what other than are the Yankees on a magical mystery tour now, you know, in getting by Cleveland after being down 0-2, and making this run, the whole Joe Girardi thing. I don't believe in that whole fate thing. I think Houston's the better team, but I thought Cleveland was a better team.
Right.
But you know what? They didn't get it done. Yankees did. Tip your cap. I just can't wait for the picture of Aaron Judge next to Jose Altuve. That's the only picture I want. Okay, that's the shot I want, just the two of them in the frame.
Officially listed, Altuve's 5'6", Judge's 6'7". So over a foot differential between the two guys who are probably 1-2 in the MVP voting.
Hembo did and I don't know if I'm going to get the number right, but he did he looked at all the rosters of the teams in the Little League World Series.
Yeah.
And there were something like 50 or 60 players that were taller than Jose Altuve.
Listen, the fact he's only an inch taller than Tim Kirkchin, that tells you all I need to know.
Man, but he's going to be your AL MVP.
Love the guy.
Right?
Three home runs in game one. He's been great in the playoffs. You're right. Regular season, 4 straight 200-hit seasons. Altuve, I can't get enough of him.
Off the top.
The Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals has granted the league's emergency request to set aside an injunction in order to dismiss Ezekiel Elliott's case, meaning he now faces that 6-game suspension. The NFL says that suspension takes place immediately. Elliott's attorneys, though, say they are exploring all legal options. Further appeals are possible. With the Cowboys in a bye this week, Elliott will not be eligible to return to the Cowboys' active roster until Week 13 against Washington if the running backs' legal team cannot put the suspension on hold again. Ryan Smith joined us earlier, ESPN's legal analyst, always does a great job on OTL. He basically was saying, Mike, it's down the wire. He can go to New York and try the appeals courts there, but it's looking more and more dicey now.
So the question is, do you do that? You certainly can if it's no skin off your nose, but in the long run, does it do more damage than not if you go forward and don't win? Does that give more power to NFL's arguments going forward, or does it change enough in the view of the union to say it's still worth it to try and make this move even though it may not work? Either way, once next week starts, he's suspended. So I don't think anything's going to be heard that quickly by the beginning of next week to decide whether he can still play or not. The suspension for him starts. They have a bye this week, and they're not playing. So the suspension would start next week for Zeke Elliott.
Facing the 49ers in Week 7, of course, Dallas struggling so far this season, and now without one of their key weapons. That is off the top. And a further reminder, before the NBA season tips off, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver will join Mike and Mike at this time on Monday morning. So you talk about a guy right now who is in the driver's seat. You know, commissioners take a lot of heat. Roger Goodell, obviously Bud Selig did for many years of baseball. I think Rob Manfred actually has a good reputation right now in baseball. Gary Bettman in hockey gets lambasted. People love Adam Silver right now.
Yeah,
he seems very progressive. He's smart. The game's in good shape. So I'm curious to what he says.
Well, yeah, and think of the relationship. You know, we always use it as the 180. The relationship he has with the union, Michelle Roberts, you know, who runs the union, as opposed to Roger Goodell and DeMaurice Smith. So that they really have that. Adam Silver has that league running really well and the relationship of players and the league in that, where I am very happy next week that DeMaurice Smith is going to be with Roger Goodell at the owners' meetings to talk about what they're going. You know, I know what they're talking about in the issue that's been going on, and we could dive into that or not. Just my point is those two are together talking about a common goal to something. Right. So I'm ecstatic about that.
Yeah.
Because we talk about a bad relationship there that has to be built little pieces at a time. This could be one of them. Find some common ground in some places and try and build a little bit of a trust wall. I have no idea if it will happen or not, but whenever they're meeting face to face, it's always better than them just, you know, everybody throwing, the league throwing arrows at the union or the union throwing arrows at the league. When they're in the same room, to me, that's a good thing.
No question about it.
By the way, my wife did see Dunkirk. I forgot. She saw it with Mike.
So wait, she's not big into war movies, but saw it with Mike.
She saw it with Mike.
I knew he was in.
She saw it when Mike's way into it, and she likes Mike more than me. She likes all our kids. She likes Mike, Jake, and Sydney more than me, so she would go do it.
I know Junior liked it a lot. What did Chris think?
I'm waiting to see. Oh, she said as far as those movies, it was good, just not my thing.
All right.
So she went just because one of her kids went. So when I asked her to go to that, she said, no, you can go by yourself. I get shut down. Any of the kids ask for it, she goes in a heartbeat.
Mother knows best.
Maybe some of the people that are ripping me on Twitter, she has a fake account, and she's one of the people ripping me on Twitter.
Exactly. All this time, you thought maybe she could help you out. She's been submarining you all these times. It took all these years to find out. I still think Greeny has a secret account. He was getting at you all these years.
Somebody does. Smokes.
We'll talk more baseball coming up at the bottom of the hour with Eduardo Perez, who will be here. But Eagles and Panthers and Carson Wentz. Before I get to this topic, because I think this is fascinating. I asked you guys this earlier, but how many quarterbacks right now would you take ahead of Carson Wentz? While you mull your answer, Mike, take a listen to what Steve Young, our NFL analyst, had to say.
Offensively, Carson Wentz is a grinder. He loves the data. The scholastic portion of the program he really enjoys, and you can see him even throughout the game, just like, give me more. Every time I make a mistake, I want to log it. I want to make sure that I get better. He's a tremendous athlete. And so you look at his ceiling is getting from, the biggest knock we had was he's from a small school. Okay, that's over with. Now just look at him as a professional player. I don't see any real flaws, and when he makes a mistake, you can see it. And he says to himself, okay, not again. And I think he's a solid player. Third down conversions. Third down, he's leading the league in third down completion percentage. I mean, that's Brady territory. That's where Aaron Rodgers hangs out. That's not where Carson Wentz hangs out, but that's where he's hanging out.
Yeah. So I was discussing it with Ryan Russillo. How many quarterbacks right now would you take out of Carson Wentz? And so I'm not going to take Brady. I'm not taking the 40-year-old. I'm not taking Breeze. I'm not taking Roethlisberger. I'm not taking Eli Manning. Right now, a quarterback for the next 10 years, the only guys I'm taking out of Carson Wentz, I'd still take Aaron Rodgers. I would take Cam Newton. I would take Matt Ryan, like right now.
You're talking about taking now for the next 10 years who's better? Because Brady, I'd still take Breeze over him right now.
Right.
I mean, but if you're talking about...
Sure, like a longevity. Well, I'll just say right now. Sure, I guess you could phrase it that way, because I know what you're saying. You wouldn't take Brady for 10 years.
No. I would not.
Right.
So it depends on how you want to qualify that. I mean, would you take him right now or Alex Smith? Now, Alex Smith's, again, in his 13th year, so...
Right.
It's hard to say, I'd rather have this young guy who's playing incredibly well because he's got a way bigger future than these other guys. So I'm not sure how people want the question. Do you want who's playing best now, or who do you want going forward? Are we only taking quarterbacks that are basically 28 and under, who have a longer time in
We
this
can do
league?
it from that instance, because then if you go, okay, Deshaun Watson, Derek Carr, those younger quarterbacks.
Derek Carr was a guy that last year we were talking about in the MVP race. And then he gets hurt and misses the rest of the season, and the Raiders are done. Now he's hurt again. I love Derek Carr and what he does.
2 major injuries.
But listen, he's injured, so you have to take that in consideration. Not enough out of Deshaun Watson yet for me to tell. Dak Prescott had a great rookie year, so look at the guys.
Wentz.
I would take Wentz.
Yeah.
You got Wentz, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott coming out.
Jameis Winston?
Jameis, still throws too many interceptions. I like Jameis. I'm a fan of Jameis. I would rather, as I said, tell a guy to pull back than give me more, and he's always going to try and throw the ball in there and make that play, which can lead to interceptions.
Russell Wilson?
Russell Wilson is one. Man, he started throwing so well from the pocket. He moves incredibly well. I'm a huge fan of Russell Wilson.
So you would take him at a Carson Wentz? I'm telling you, it's harder than you think. I'm taking Wentz. I hear you.
That one, that to me is one of the tougher ones of the younger quarterbacks.
Sure,
quarterbacks that haven't been in the league for 10 years.
Right, Matt Ryan, you're taking out of Wentz.
Matt Ryan, I'm taking out of
Wentz.
Right,
yes, sure. Yeah. And after that, it gets a little bit trickier. But I guess if you phrase it this way, who would you want as a quarterback for this year and next year? So that way, Brady's still in the conversation. You would take Brady ahead of Wentz.
I would take Brady. I would take Aaron Rodgers. I would take Breeze. I mean, remember, Breeze hasn't thrown an interception this year either, and he's close to 70% of his passes. But he does that every year.
Right.
I mean, every year you expect to see these monster numbers out of Breeze, and every year he keeps delivering them.
The crazy thing about Wentz, though, is this. When the Eagles traded up, you knew it was a massive gamble. And as you said with Deshaun Watson, I felt confident in the move for Houston because you said, well, the big game experience we did at Clemson.
Right.
With Wentz, you go, FCS, North Dakota State,
absolutely.
Season and a half. You've got to be sure on this guy. This is a serious gamble. This is not a can't-miss quarterback. The maturation, the progress he's shown year 1 to year 2, you can't wait to see what he's going to do years from now.
That's
a move.
That's the big thing is what you see. Listen, quite honestly, you could if I asked you who's improved more between year 1 and year 2, Carson Wentz or Jared Goff?
Well, Goff was so awful.
That's what I mean.
I would say Goff only because he was so awful last year.
So
and now
bad.
He's been good.
And
but you're right. Wentz has gone from good to great now.
Wentz, man, they could not be happier. Obviously, with what's going on.
Like if you miss on one of those,
be more sick,
right?
If
you miss on one of those, that's one of those you lose your job. The whole front office, you go, wait, you guys are the ones that trade all these picks for this guy and it didn't work out.
I mean, right now it looks like 1-2 Goff Wentz looks like those two, the Rams and Eagles, have their quarterback, barring injury, and from, again, more limited and really a more limited sample size with Goff than with Wentz, but it looks like the arrow is way up on them. For guys that were a little ahead of them, Mariota and Winston.
Mariota, another guy.
Both those guys we had arrow up on. Now Mariota, with the injury. Last year he gets hurt and misses time. Now he's got the hammy now. Struggling a little bit, but was great in the red zone. Hadn't thrown the interception. Winston, we keep saying, love him, love him, love him. Still has that turnovers, but, man, he makes every now and then that throw where you go, wow, that's Jameis Winston.
One name we haven't said, and I dithered on this one, Andrew Luck or Carson Wentz?
See, Andrew Luck's not on the field. I mean, right now I'm taking the guy that's available.
Wentz, Luck hurt.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, there's, the ability is availability. I mean, that's a monster thing. And right now there is huge question marks with Andrew Luck. You take Andrew Luck and the potential of what you saw out of him, my God, and put a decent team around him, because right now he just got completely hamstrung with the talent that was put around that team. Completely hamstrung. With Goff they're building there, they had to revamp the offensive line. The defense is a good defense. They give up a little too much running, but they're giving them some weapons there as well. And with the Colts, what is there? There's T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah.
I mean, they have nothing going on. The O-line, they keep trying to fix that. Guys get hurt or the guys don't pan out, and then he keeps getting hurt. So that's an ugly situation.
Last one for you. Did you answer Cam or Wentz? Who would you take? I don't think I asked you that one.
Cam, the last couple of weeks has looked like Cam the MVP.
Right. 2 weeks.
Exactly right.
Right. 2 years ago, brilliant.
2 years ago, brilliant. So I need a little more time on Cam to see it. And I think Cam can, because I think Cam is getting back to, he's running. He's just going to have to. You can't say, you know what, we need to protect Cam. He needs to stop doing this stuff. Cam needs to be Cam Newton. Yeah. If that means running 11 times a game, taking off, doing what he does, then so be it.
Right. If
do
you
your thing.
Contact. Listen, you're a big guy. It's part of the game. You can't be nullified.
That's going to be his way to play, and they can't really mess with that.
So you would take Cam over Wentz?
Right now, I think I'd take Wentz.
Yeah, I love it.
Right now, I'd have to take Wentz.
I'm telling you, there's like a handful. That's it. It's Rodgers, Brady, Matt Ryan.
Breeze, I'd still take over him.
And that's about it. Carson Wentz is
playing
top 5
extremely well.
And the Eagles now, as far as the class of the conference, Herm Edwards was saying this earlier, he'd still take Atlanta. Eagles now feel like the NFC East is their division to lose. How many other teams ahead of the Eagles? The Falcons, I think,
the Falcons, I think you got to put Green Bay up there because of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
The defense playing better. The offense with their weapons, as long as they have them, they're still hurt on that offensive line.
Right.
A lot of it's going to depend on week 12 or week 10, 11 through 13, 14. Do the injured guys now for the Packers, are they back?
Right.
And anybody who's healthy, how injured are they then?
Right.
That's always kind of the great equalizer.
Yeah, it's amazing to think that how much can change, certainly in the NFC. Coming up next, we'll turn our attention from football to baseball. Eduardo Perez on a wild night in D.C. How can they fix the situation with the Washington Nationals and get out of their way? Plus, who does he like in both the ALCS and NLCS? It's baseball's Final Four. Plus, we'll get some Oreos talk in, of course.
I just saved hundreds of dollars by switching to Geico. I've never felt more alive.
Disclaimer. Geico cannot guarantee you will feel more alive. You either possess functioning respiratory and circulatory systems, or you do not, or you are a zombie. If you are indeed a brain-starved zombie and you would like to save money on car insurance, the Geico legal team applauds your excellent life choices, even in your shambling afterlife. But we strongly encourage you to visit geico.com or download the Geico app. Please stay a minimum of 500 feet away from our large and presumably delicious, delicious brains.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
That is Mike Golic. I'm Adnan Virk in for Greeny today. We're Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. My better half when it comes to celebrity softball, my boy Eduardo Perez joining us now. Nobody's better than Eddie, especially breaking down the X's and O's of the game, and nobody's better with food. So we're going to get you on the mystery Oreos.
Oh, beautiful.
I know you haven't eaten breakfast. Yeah, you haven't eaten
We're
breakfast
going to do that
yet.
in a little bit, yeah.
We'll get mystery Oreos to see if Eddie can guess the flavor.
You got a cookie coming, though.
I'm salivating.
My guy knows his flavors and his tastes.
If I do well, you give me a cookie. You give me a treat.
You're getting a cookie, and then if you do well, you get another cookie.
Right, exactly.
Oh, really?
Just like with your daughter.
This show rolls.
Hey.
Jose Lobaton picked off Wilson Contreras, snap throw to Anthony Rizzo. By the letter of the law, he was off the bag a little bit, so I should be out. But I think, Eddie, you got to use common sense here and go, listen, when a guy slides back, he beat the throw. You watch it again here.
Right.
All right, he beat the throw. Now, obviously, you've played baseball. You know this. You moved. It just comes off for half a second, and he's out. The call is technically correct because his foot comes off right there in Rizzo's glove, right? But can't we at least use common sense and say that can't be the way a pivotal game is turned?
That's the way it's been played all season long. That's the thing. And if he comes off for a second, we see it all the time when guys are stealing second base, and you see they come off,
right?
And you're now taught instead of the pop-up tag, which that's what Anthony Rizzo did.
Right.
Keep the tag on, and from the angle that we saw, which is the same angle they see in New York, I wasn't 100% sure that tag was still on when that foot came off. So it could have gone either way. It was interesting that Ron Darling said, no, it's not going to be overturned. There's no way it's 100% sure. Yeah. Yet, in New York, they found a way to see it 100% sure.
I'm with you, though. I mean, you have to call it, right? If you're going to have replay and it's shown there, the eye in the sky don't lie, as we know. Whether you like replay, don't like replay, they have it. The foot was off. The tag was. If they thought the tag was still on, you got to call them out.
But it's evolving. We've seen that replay is evolving, and we saw now from this NLDS that there will be a new rule installed also. I think the commissioner has to look at that other play where the bias swing where it hits Wieters in the mask. I mean, you know if A.J. Krasinski's behind the plate, you know what he'll do. He'll roll over. He'll go around 3 times. It hit me in the mask, inning over. He'll end up getting an Oscar for it. That's how good it is. But then again, Wieters went right back to the ball, threw the ball away, made the situation even worse. And you look at it, then he's arguing to Jerry Lane, hey, listen, he hit me in the mask. Too late. Jerry Lane didn't see it. The rest of the umpires didn't see it. And the most important part, that play is not reviewable. So
for the context
eventually, it has to be reviewable in the future. And I think that's why the review is being evolved throughout the years.
Top of the 5th, 5-4 Cubs, runners in second and third, 2 outs. This is the play Eddie's talking about. Scherzer strikes at Javi Baez, a run scores in the pass ball. If the rule was correctly enforced, the inning would have ended. The Cubs then tacked on another run in the inning. So that's a 2-run swing there because 1 run scores, and they score another one after.
Right. After that, you score another run, 2-run swing. It would have changed the entire dynamic of the game, of the inning, and at the same time, you're looking at rule. Everybody knows Rule 6.03, right? Of
course you do.
Of course you do. It's in your back pocket.
Yes.
How do you not know it? And look at Jerry Lane. He's right there. He's looking at it. Is he blinking right when that bat hits the helmet, the mask? He's right there. He doesn't see it. He doesn't hear it.
Not reviewable.
No, not
so
reviewable.
He doesn't call it not reviewable. So all that aside, I thought Dusty Baker, in the unbelievably long soundbite we played of him earlier and listing all the things that went on.
It was really long.
But basically what he said, and I would ask if you agree, he said, we had our chances. We didn't take advantage of it.
14 left on base.
No, he's saying no excuses. I get it. 14 runners left on base. Guys with the bases loaded. Weak fly balls. Wieters left the bases loaded on the first pitch. I just think the Nationals, they left a lot of runners on, but they did it also aggressively on the first pitch. Instead of going after their pitch, it just seemed like they wanted to they were overexcited, over-anxious. That's when you have to really calm down. A veteran player in situations like this slows the game down. They have a heartbeat. They know how to breathe. They look for their situation. We saw it with Lind when he came up to pinch hit. First pitch, double play. We saw it with Harper, the last at-bat of the game, wanted to hit a home run. Wade Davis throws a slider down, gets behind 0-1. Situations like that where are they going to pitch to me or not? You have to think about it a little bit better. The last at-bat for Harper, he struck out on 2 pitches that weren't even strikes to come up with the last pitch of the game. Situations that cannot happen. Weak fly ball by Wieters with the bases loaded, that cannot happen.
And so now we're talking with Eduardo Perez, of course, of baseball tonight, and of course you'll see him on SportsCenter as well. The Nationals can't get over that hump, Eddie. They cannot get out of the NLDS. And I wonder, what else can you do? If I'm Mike Rizzo, I've got all this talent assembled. I think Bryce is going to leave, 12 years, $400 million, somewhere. Now I really feel for Washington because I don't know, what else can you do at this point?
That's the thing. What else can you do? The good thing is this. You saw the glimpses of what Michael Taylor can be.
Yep.
He was phenomenal. 4 RBIs yesterday, 4 RBIs the day before. First player to ever do that in postseason history. But you also look at Adam Eaton will be coming back to the outfield. They have answers there. Are they going to get Bryce Harper? I think maybe there are teams like Philadelphia that are going to just overpay and say, we want you here. We need to make a difference. They're going a managerial change. So that's going to be interesting to see how the free agent market lands for Bryce Harper. But right now, the Washington Nationals are still going to be good. And the thing is, Mike Rizzo, what is he going to do with Dusty Baker? His contract's up also. Yeah. Personally, 95 wins 2 years ago, 97 this year. You're looking at a guy that I think you just give him a contract and you say it's up to you, and we'll give you your option if you want to come back next year, because how can you argue with 90-plus wins?
Bottom line is,
well, yesterday. He really did.
Yeah, bottom line is they're at home yet again. Cubs move on. We're getting used to this going back-to-back. Oh, my gosh, after a million years without it.
Cubs
now,
championship experience they relied on yesterday.
So let's start there. Cubs go to play the Dodgers, who themselves are looking to kind of get over a let's move through the postseason a little better hump. How do you see this?
I think the Dodgers better take advantage right now of the Cubs not being able to have a Wade Davis. Let's start there with their closer in Game 1. He threw 44 pitches yesterday. There's no way he's going to be available tomorrow. No chance after going back-to-back days like that. Kershaw has to be dominant. I think he has to be able to take advantage, set the tone early in order to take the pressure off the rest of the Dodger players and to see who the Cubs end up throwing in Game 1. I think it's going to be Jose Quintana. I know Lackey is fresh, he's available, but Jose Quintana threw yesterday through 12 pitches, so that's pretty much like a bullpen for him. He has yet to face the Dodgers. It's going to be interesting how Game 1 plays. Don't count the Cubs out just because they're going from D.C. to L.A. This is a team that knows how to win, and as Joe Madden said later on in the season when we were there in St. Louis when they played the Cardinals, he said their look in their eyes. They can be down 2, they can be down 3. The look in their eyes right now is completely different than what I saw at the beginning of the season. These guys know how to win, and they want to win now, and that's why they were the best record in the second half. But it's a toss-up right now.
I love our boy Madanini, but I don't know about Wade Davis in the 7th. I was like, at one point.
He does things, doesn't he? He's Catman last year. Davis.
At one point, Joe was looking at like, all he got left is Lackey. Like, it's going to be Wade Davis till his arm falls off. ALCS, Eddie not only was a player, son of a Hall of Famer, but of course you've worked on coaching staffs, not only Miami, but Houston as well. You know Dallas Keuchel well. You know Altuve. Our buddy Alex Cora now is a part of the coaching staff there. I feel like Houston, their offense is so good. They win this in 5, maybe 6. How do you see it?
They were the best team in the American League. Everybody talks about the Cleveland Indians.
Right.
But let's not forget this.
I'm from Cleveland now.
I know you are. I know you are. I know you guys go over there. You guys were supposed to have another Mike and Mike maybe during the World Series there in Cleveland.
And he watched the show.
I watched the show. Yeah. Look at it this way. There are no taxes in Texas. You never know if it goes to Houston.
That's pretty good.
You don't have to declare taxes over there. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah. It is what it is.
Go ahead.
They were the best team. And the reason, when they started faltering, they didn't have a Carlos Correa. They did not have a George Springer. They were hurt. They did not have a Dallas Keuchel. He was hurt also. He had neck and shoulder issues. So now you get Dallas Keuchel back. You get Correa, you get Springer. This team starts taking off, and then you add Justin Verlander to the mix September 1st. Ay bendito. That's when I start forgetting my English and I go to my Spanish. That's when I start speaking English with a Spanish accent, okay? Because they are good. They are really good. The only thing that the Yankees have ahead of them are 2 things. It's the right fielder, if he stops striking out 16 times in 24 at-bats that he had against a tough pitching staff that was the Cleveland Indians. But most importantly, their bullpen. Their bullpen is really, really good. It's shut down. It's shut down stuff. Their starting pitching, yes, they're good. Tanaka, Severino, CeCe, and we don't know what we're going to get yet with Game 4. But one way that you can look at the Houston Astros is they can hit for power, they can run, they can play defense. They are a fundamentally sound team, and all around, they are a better team than the New York Yankees. That doesn't mean that the Yankees can't win, but they are a better team. Just like the Cleveland Indians were a better team than the New York Yankees. The New York Yankees are finding a way to win for Joe Girardi.
Who's playing in the World Series?
Ay, Dios mío, te lo dije que no me fuera ahí, chico.
He's got the Astros in the American League.
You know what? I'll say this. I'll say Astros, and I'll say Cubs.
Really?
Wow.
I'll say Astros and Cubs.
Okay.
Back-to-back World Series appearances for the Cubs.
I like that.
People in Chicago love Eddie.
All right, now the
old Central Division rivals.
Yes. Now let's get to the important part of
Mystery Oreo. So Golic and his wife Chris picked these up.
We were in the grocery store yesterday, and my wife looked at this bag of Mystery Oreos. If you guess the flavor and we turn it in, we can win $50,000.
Okay.
So we've had everybody on the staff try a cookie and give us their thoughts.
So I say this on national TV, so any other average Joe can also say.
That's the point. You don't want to give away the answer. Someone's going to go.
Luckily, there's a couple left. So you go ahead and try it. We'll talk while you try.
Can I split it up?
No, eat the Oreo however you want to eat it. Just you're going to have to give us a guess. Do what you got to do to try. I love it. He's smelling it. He's doing everything that you. It's like
you're sipping wine over
there. A glass of wine. That's how Mike and Mike does a tasting of an Oreo. We do it like a glass of wine. So
love it.
He's tasting that. We believe we have our guests to go in, but we want to get everybody's kind of input on this.
Yeah.
I've eaten too many now, so the flavor has left me. It's become just too much in my head
white
now.
Noise after.
That's exactly right.
All right, Eddie doesn't like the taste of the cookie.
He
but
doesn't
coming up
like
next,
the taste of the cookie at all.
Golic makes his pick against the Geeks.
Mike and Mike, reminding you miss any of the show, including Ryan Smith in Hour 2. You can listen to all 4 hours of Mike and Mike on demand in the ESPN app. And now you can subscribe to our Best of podcast, all available in the Listen tab of the ESPN app.
Adnan Virk in for Greeny today alongside Golic. Great way to wrap up your week with Mike and Mike. Forward Thinking is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. Here's what's coming up this weekend. On Sunday, the Packers travel to take on division rival Minnesota. Coverage begins 12 p.m. Eastern. Looking forward to those games.
Yeah.
Your picks, Golic versus the Geeks?
The FPI, our Football Power Index, what I affectionately call the NPI, the Nerd Power Index. Yes, absolutely right. It's Paul Carr sitting there right now is giving me a mean look. Hembo and all his group of pocket protecting wearers and how they pick their games. It's looking very mean to me. Their biggest one they have in the bank this week is the Washington Redskins over San Francisco. Game's in Washington. They have an 88% chance that Washington wins. The least is the Green Bay Packers traveling to Minnesota. They have basically 50.1% that Green Bay would win. So I'm not taking the toughest one or the easiest one. Here's where I'm going. I'm going to where I ate 42 beignets when we were down there for Super Bowl week.
Okay.
Yeah. And I am our NPI, Nerd Power Index, has the Saints 67% chance of winning that game. I am choosing the visiting Detroit Lions to go to New Orleans and get the straight-up win.
All right.
There you go.
You're feeling confident about
That is my I'm going to beat the NPI. They beat me the first 2 weeks. I've run 3 in a row on them, so I'm 3-2 against them right now, soon to be 4-2.
Speaking of nerd notes, Mike and Mike presented by Perez Insurance, all of our phone guests in the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Julius Peppers last night, the 5th player to 150 sacks. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'll put you on the spot.
Okay.
Can you name the other 4?
100.
Peppers became the 5th to 150 sacks. The other 4 who have 150 sacks or more.
Obviously not current.
No, all time.
Bruce Smith, Reggie White,
Yep.
Kevin Green.
Yes, got the first 3.
Yeah.
Just one more. Wow. My guy's not messing around.
Lawrence Taylor?
No. Yeah.
Oh, man.
The first 2 are gimmies, Bruce and Reggie. Kevin Green.
Am I going to kick myself? I'm going to kick myself. Obviously, he's going to be a star player.
He's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Dolman?
Chris Dolman.
Surprise,
Chris Dolman.
Wow.
Over 150 sacks. Pretty crazy.
Oh, that is impressive.
Yeah.
All right.
So just speaking of D-lines there.
All right. So I should do did you do Forward Thinker or do I need to do that?
No, I knocked it out, yeah.
Oh, you did? All right. I don't have to read it. I thought I had to do it. Good job out of you.
Thanks.
You know, it shows me I treat you like Greeny. I don't listen to you.
I take that as the highest compliment possible.
So we have our guess.
Yeah.
But we're not going to say it, right?
No, but
Bickler, did you put it in? Did you?
Has it already been submitted? So then we feel like we're okay. Hey, Travis Bickle still saying.
I'm going to say it anyway.
Are you serious?
Why not?
Okay, why not?
Do we should?
Tease it though. Give some of the options we were kicking around.
So again, it was the mystery Oreo. This was my wife's idea as a field producer for this show for years.
Field producer.
She took the mystery Oreo. She said, "Take them in, let everybody try them. You can win $50,000." But you have to guess the flavor, and then you have to go through the process of putting it in. So we had everybody here try it, and some of the guesses we got were creamsicle, orange sherbet, Fruit Loops, Fruity Pebbles, Trix. Those were some of the ones we got, which were good ones because it had that orangey, citrusy type flavor to it.
Right.
And trying to place it. And here's where we went. You millennials may not even know what this is, quite honestly. Tang.
Yes, that is what we're
going
with.
That's what we're going with. Oreo, if you're listening, we sent it in first, okay? So we win because that's the flavor.
After all this, you ate 15 cookies.
I did not. I had one, just like everybody else.
And all you come up with is Tang.